you need more space, we can always shift stuff more. Oh, you need more whiskey. All right.
I think I'm gonna get one more glass before we start. I think we should maybe get started.
All right.
Hi, I'm Chanelle.
I'm Kristin.
And this is
Lord Omen. Again, yay!
It's so in sync. Okay, so I guess I should start.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a murder story again, and I just want to say my disclaimer, even though I didn't even write it down, I just wrote disclaimer.
It's in all caps, just at the top of the paper.
Yeah, just so that I know. I thought future me would know what to say. She doesn't, but okay. This story is just a whole bunch of information that I found on the internet, and I compiled it into notes, and I mean no ill will towards anyone that I speak about. These are my opinions unless stated otherwise, if I have any personal opinions about it, which I do. I just mean no disrespect to anyone that I talk about, especially the people affected by the story. About the murderers, I really couldn't give two shits. But the victims, I honestly mean no disrespect to anyone I talk about, or anyone else involved that is not the murderer or the hired help.
Oh my goodness. Now I need to hear the story.
Okay, so this is going to be the story about Taliep Petersen. He was born in District 6, Cape Town, on the 15th of April, 1950. He was a father, a brother, son, a husband, and was also a South African treasure. He was born with charisma and had a natural talent for the arts, singing and storytelling in particular. He made his first mark in the industry at just 6 years old.
Jeez.
He sang and danced in the Cape Town Carnival.
Oh.
His dad had a group, like, you know, one of the
Klipse.
yes.
Oh, okay.
So they had, he had a group, and one of the main people pulled out, I think they got sick or whatever, and he asked his son, Taliep, who was 6 years old, if he could go in his place, and he's like, yes, no, definitely, he can do it, whatever, and he ended up winning a prize.
Oh, that's so cute.
He won, I think he won first prize, actually.
Oh.
First performance, 6 years old, and he's winning first prize. I can't relate.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I was just playing Barbies in the backyard.
I was making mud pies with my Barbies.
Yes! So his first theatre performance was in 1974 in Hair. Then he went on to star in Gospel and Jesus Christ Superstar. He studied guitar at the Fitznell School of Music in England.
Oh, wow.
And he would write his first review after that, Carnival a la District 6. Obviously got a lot of influence from where he grew up and his culture and background, stuff like that, which is also evident in the band that he formed in the 80s called Sapphire. They played interpretations of traditional Cape Malay songs.
Okay.
I must confess I've never heard any of
neither.
their songs, but I will go and listen to them, I think. I saw Taliep Petersen when he was a judge on Afrikaans Idols. So that's where I knew him from.
Oh my God.
When I used to watch Afrikaans Idols.
Why was there a separate Idols for Afrikaans?
I don't know,
Wasn't
because we can't sing in English apparently.
But I mean, there've been Afrikaans singers on normal Idols, haven't they? I don't know.
Right now it doesn't make sense, but back then apparently it did. So in 1986, he would meet David Kramer, who is also a well-known South African artist, and they would collaborate on many musicals together. They'd write a lot of musicals, and I think they starred in musicals and stuff like that together as well. The first being District 6, the musical, which is quite a big musical.
Which I've never seen.
Neither have I.
Okay.
So, like I mentioned previously, Taliep's community and his heritage were both enormous sources of inspiration to him. And David and Taliep would actually go on and tour some of their shows internationally. You're not gonna, your mind's gonna be blown. Cat and the Kings ran in Las Vegas.
Ooh.
Broadway. When I read that, I was like, Broadway?
That's amazing.
I never even knew South Africans made it that far. And London's West End.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's impressive.
Little note there. Get it! And shortly before Petersen's death, they actually opened London's Tricycle Theatre with Guma.
Is everyone on tricycles?
I don't know. I don't know why it's called the Tricycle Theatre.
Because I would totally go see that. It's everyone on tricycles.
Well, that's the theatre's name, but they opened with Guma. That's the show, Guma.
Okay.
But the actual theatre's name is Tricycle Theatre.
Okay.
I don't know why. Maybe all the audience sits on tricycles.
What, and it's kinetically generating energy for the
for the lights. And the speakers and stuff.
Instead of paying tickets, you just power it.
They have spin glasses. That is what it is.
It's kind of like me walking on a treadmill while I work. So
exactly.
Same.
If the kinetic energy that you were generating from the treadmill was powering your computer. So, like I said, Taliep... Oh no, I didn't say this. But Taliep honestly made such a huge contribution to South African arts and culture. Yeah. He created a sitcom called Ali Barber.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes.
I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah. So, I think I watched that too.
That was so
I'm
good.
Pretty sure I did watch it.
That was the time of Madam and Eve and there was Orkney Snorkney and those kind of shows.
Yeah. Fake Palace.
Yes.
Oh, I love
Fake
Fake
so nice. I used to love those shows.
Borsie is nou 'n wors.
I love it when you talk Warren.
Oh my word. So that aired for 2 seasons and led to his first Afrikaans album called Deur Dik en Dun. I haven't heard that, but
yeah.
And he obviously had a ton of accolades in the theatre. He and David Kramer actually won an Oliver Award from the Society of London Theatre.
Wow,
which I have no idea really what it entails, but it sounds very impressive.
Yeah.
So to get into more of Taliep's personal life, he was married twice. He met his first wife, Madiga, as she auditioned for a role in District 6. So that was their meet cute. He obviously wrote the theatre piece and she came in and caught his eye while auditioning. And they married after a decade of dating.
Wow.
They had 3 children together, Jawir, Aisha, Fatima, and Asher.
Did you say 3 children? Because that was 4 names.
I mean 4. That was before I read 3 and then I kept on seeing, but it's actually 4, so it's actually 4. Anyway, 4 children. He had 4 children.
That's a lot of kids.
Yes. And they unfortunately ended up divorcing in 1996 or 1997. I couldn't really figure out when. But now, apparently, even before the divorce, but also especially it ramped up after the divorce, one of Madiga's friends started becoming close with Taliep. I heard from a podcast that I'll mention, True Crime South Africa, I'll mention it again later, that they started becoming close already. She would come and visit there while Taliep is there.
Okay.
Before they got divorced officially. Anyway, so I also heard this on a YouTube channel called Just Sindiswa, which is really cool. She does murder, mystery, and mocktails.
Cool.
But she's quite cool, and I would definitely recommend watching her out. She is a South African creator, so definitely go and give her a like and a follow. More than 1 like, but like all of her videos. So this friend is called Najwa. They later got married.
Okay.
Taliep and Najwa.
Lovely.
Got married and they had a daughter together called Zainab. So they moved in together, but they actually moved into a property that was owned by Najwa's family, who was stupid rich. Stupid rich. They had a fruit distribution business, but rumor had it that fruit wasn't the only thing they were distributing.
Oh.
And this is what I heard from one of my favorite South African true crime podcasts called True Crime South Africa. And I definitely got some information from that podcast, and it was episode 30, The Murder of Taliep Petersen. So, like I said, rumors were swirling around that it's not just fruit that they're dealing in, and eventually it did come out that they were dealing in diamonds and stuff like that. So,
I thought it was drugs.
no.
Oh, well.
Not drugs, but bad enough. Oh my god. So, Najwa received, on average, wait for it, 100,000 rand a month.
I'm sorry, what?
In 2000 and early 2000s. 2000 and earlys.
Oh my goodness.
The
amount of lip gloss you could have bought. The amount of Britney Spears CDs we could have got.
Of Scooby-Doo loops that you could buy with that Did you do those Scooby-Doo loops? Those weird things that you'd make a keychain out of them.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we called them
the Scooby wire, the telephone wire. Oh,
yes.
I was obsessed with
Me
that
too,
stuff.
but I could never start one until I learned, and then I never felt power like that power. Because everyone would come to you and ask you, can you start my Scooby-Doo loop? And I'm like, yes, I can.
Kids today are like, what are you talking about?
Anyway. So, that 100,000 rand came from sales, the fruit business. She owned some shares in property, or a property business, and then, like I said, for the sale of diamonds, which she regularly arranged. And then also, she illegally sold US dollars for profit. Very chill.
Whatever.
Very chill.
Okay.
Oh, lots of side hustles, lots of illegal side hustles. But
she's getting her 5 a day in, that's fine.
Oh.
She's got her fruit and veg sorted, so...
More than that. So they moved in, and they each brought their own set of children from previous marriages. I don't know how to say that. They were a blended family.
So did she have before him?
Yeah, she had kids as well, and he had the four before.
Okay. And then they had together.
And then they had one together.
Good grief.
So there's a lot of moving parts in the story. And
those are called children, Chanelle.
That's not what I meant. But yes, the children would move in together, and apparently from Taliep's side, they had quite a nice arrangement, and the kids could stay with him for 2 weeks out of the month or something like that. So very, very split agreement between him and his ex-wife. So when Najwa and Taliep got married, they actually had 3 ceremonies. They had 2 traditional ceremonies and 1 legal ceremony, which I just think is like the white wedding, like that type of thing.
White wedding?
No, but I mean white dress wedding.
Oh.
No, I just mean
what?
I knew what you thought I meant, and it wasn't that.
What do you mean, like traditional? But like
traditional as in customary marriages, like
which customs?
Muslim. Oh yes, I should have mentioned that they were practicing Muslim. Sorry,
that makes sense. Right.
Or Taliep at this. I should have said that because Madiga also transferred. What do you call it? Converted. Transferred. She converted to Islam when she got married to Taliep. So as I said, Najwa and Taliep had 3 ceremonies. Twice they had a traditional ceremony and once a legal ceremony. And then Taliep's family were not invited to attend 2 out of the 3 ceremonies. So I don't know why. Okay. I don't know what went on. Maybe they just didn't want to go. I don't know. So as the years went on, Najwa would be diagnosed with bipolar disorder as well as depression, and she'd actually be admitted to psychiatric facilities. And I'm just going to put a trigger warning for suicide for the next 15 to 30 seconds. She also tried to commit suicide by swallowing all of her medication at one stage. And after the failed attempt, Taliep tried to help by locking the medication away and only distributing it as necessary. And when he would go out of the country, one of the older children would take responsibility. The struggles would make the relationship difficult at times. And in 2006, Najwa fell into a very deep depression, and she was booked into a psychiatric facility again. And she was discharged on the 13th of April 2006. On that night, one of Taliep's younger daughters came into her sister's room. I think the younger daughter came into Jawir's room. I think it was her. The younger sister said that basically her dad was calling for help and she didn't know what to do. She was obviously just scared. So the older sister went with her. They went to the master bedroom, and while they were approaching the door, they could hear Taliep saying something to the effect of, "No, Najwa," and stop. So Jawir knocked on the door. She opened the door and the room was dark. Like, she had to switch on the light. I think her dad told her, "Don't get a fright, but switch on the light." She switched on the light and the light flooded into the dark room. She saw her stepmother kneeling on the floor with a knife in her hand, and her father doing his best to keep her at bay. His chest was covered in blood. There was also blood on the blind and on the duvet. Jeez. And one of the daughters said that she was so scared of Najwa that night. Her face didn't look like her face. Her eyes looked demonic almost. Yeah. So I can't even imagine the trauma.
That must be so scary.
I can't even imagine. So by this time, most of the other members of the family had gathered in the room after the commotion, and Taliep handed the knife to their live-in domestic worker and asked her to wash the knife carefully and put it away. He went to the hospital to get his wounds treated, and they admitted Najwa back into the psychiatric facility, and he never pressed charges. He never pressed charges.
That's quite hectic.
So scary.
So she didn't obviously hit anything vital.
No.
Was it 2 stab? So maybe.
I don't know. I just saw he went to the hospital to get his wounds attended to. But I can't even imagine. I can't really put myself in that circumstance. Like, for the kids, for him, no one.
Yeah.
Even, like, it's so sad when people with mental struggles don't get the help that they need. And I don't want to advocate for Najwa and stuff like that, but it's sad because she had been to psychiatric facilities, so obviously she had very, very big struggles. Yes. But, you can't help but wonder why wasn't it getting better in a sense. But I also think that there's a lot that, I don't know, that you also, your character, like your mental disorder isn't your character. Like your mental disorder doesn't encompass the whole of you.
Yes, it's true.
You know what I mean? So you also have to, I'll talk about Najwa when I get to her. Okay, so although he didn't press charges, after the incident, Taliep would move out of the master bedroom with their daughter Zainab, and he would sleep in a separate bedroom, and his kids would visit a lot less frequently, and they would be scared to sleep over, and when they did sleep over, and every night that Taliep went to bed with his daughter, they would lock the doors from the inside out.
That's understandable. I do the same,
for sure. I would also do the same, but that's also such a sad way to live at the end of the day. So I believe after Taliep's death, it came out that he really didn't have any money of his own. He had a bank account, but the only income would be from what Najwa deposited into it.
Okay.
So to cover debit orders like life insurance, of which he had several in his name, but we'll get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're probably wondering where all the money for his performances are going. Like, he's touring internationally. Like, surely this man is making some money. Well, actually, it went directly into Najwa's bank account.
What?
Oh, apparently she was she wasn't really the breadwinner, because, I mean, he did have work for sure. I mean, he's an artist, so I guess it's a little bit more difficult to get stable income.
Yes.
But no, I don't understand. It's a form of abuse. This is abuse.
It is.
This is domestic abuse, just the other way around than what we normally see it.
True.
It's usually the man. It just goes to show you that it's not always the man.
Yes.
That's the abuser. Like, a woman can also be an abuser. So this was also confirmed by David Kramer, that the money would go into Najwa's account. Like, it would be paid into her account.
That's crazy.
Like, not even, like, Taliep wouldn't pay it over into her account. Like, it would be directly deposited into her account, and she'd just give him whatever he needed to cover his debit orders. And I think it's so difficult to say, like, oh, yeah, that would never happen to me, or I would never allow that, because you're not in that situation. So on the 14th of December 2006, Taliep came back from London after, like I said, opening London's Tricycle Theatre with Guma.
Mm-hmm.
2 days later, he attended the 21st birthday party of a family member, while Najwa stayed at home. He returned home around 10 p.m. and ran into his wife's cousin, who was staying on the flat on the property. So I think they had quite a big property. And they ate some cake together that Taliep brought back from the party with him. And they parted ways just after 11, and Taliep said he was going to go and watch some cricket in the upstairs TV room. And half an hour later, 2 armed men would enter the house and ultimately kill Taliep. So after this all happened, Najwa phoned Taliep's sister, her sister-in-law, to tell her that they'd been robbed. Armed men came into the house, and she heard a gunshot, and she didn't know whether Taliep was alive because she wasn't with him. She was in a different room. So obviously, Taliep's sister says, hang up the phone and call the police. And as they hung up the phone, Taliep's sister phoned the police. She couldn't get through to the police. They decided to drive to the nearest police station. She's like, she's not even going to try again. Go to the police station. So on their way to the police station, Taliep's sister phoned her brother to tell him, go to Taliep's house and go and see what's going on. So they got to the police station, and as soon as they got there, opened the case or whatever, however it works. And not long after that, they could actually hear the sirens driving past. So they said it was really quick. The police was really helpful. Obviously, they just couldn't get through on the telephone.
Which is scary.
That is scary. So Taliep's brother, his son, the brother's son, And Najwa's brother arrived at the scene to the horrific sight of Taliep laying in a pool of blood with a gunshot wound to the head. He was dead, a towel covering his head and his ankles and wrists bound.
Oh, wow. So they really had time to...
Yeah.
Okay.
So Najwa's adult son and his wife and their baby had also been living in the house. So obviously when these 3 people got there, they were like, oh my word, where are the rest of the people? And they ran into the house and went to go and find everyone. They found Najwa and her daughter Zainab locked in a room.
Yeah.
And in another bedroom they found Najwa's son and his family, and they were fine.
Okay.
None of them had been hurt. They'd been robbed of their phones and stuff like that.
Okay. So they did actually go through 2 different parts of the house? Because he was upstairs, right? So,
yes.
Okay.
So...
Because that would be weird, sorry, if they just went straight upstairs to him and then they left again.
Yeah, that would
be weird.
It would be weird. When they told Najwa that Taliep had been killed, she sat in shock and she cried, obviously. So the police arrived and started questioning those in the house, and Inspector Ryan Hermanus asked Najwa to take him through the events of the night.
Okay.
You know, like, they need to ask these questions when it's still fresh in your memory so that, you know, they can get the account as clear as possible, I guess. Okay, and here I'd like to add that the following information I got from an episode of Crimes Uncovered, The Ultimate Betrayal, the Taliep Petersen story. So she went on to tell Inspector Hermanus that she had been in bed and heard the doorbell ring at around 11:30, and she assumed that Taliep was expecting someone, so she didn't get up, she didn't bother. And not long after that, she awoke to a light shining in her eyes, and when her eyes focused, she saw 2 men wearing balaclavas and pointing guns at her, demanding that she take them to the safe.
That must be so freaking scary.
So, a house robbery gone wrong, right?
Yeah.
Wrong.
No, God. All right.
Inspector Hermanus picked up on her bullshit. For one, no one else heard the doorbell ring.
Okay, that's a big one.
And there was no forced entry. So, that's a pretty big one. So, mind you, this place had cameras, high walls, and electric fencing.
Right. Okay.
How did they get in then? Najwa assured the police that, well, not assured, she tried to cover her butt, that the monitor for the cameras were actually next to Taliep's bedside, and the sound bothered him so much, the sound that the monitor would make, bothered him so much that he switched it off. And even more curious is the fact that the alarm company said that the system was in perfect working condition, and that they had a silent emergency button that anyone could have pressed at any time.
Okay.
So according to his religious rites, he had to be buried the next day because he's a practicing Muslim. Najwa didn't attend because she was being treated for shock at the hospital. But thousands of people paid their respects to the great man that he was. On the day of the burial, Superintendent Petersen was requested to assist in the case. And he met with Najwa, who eventually took him to the safe, where the burglars wanted her to take them. And he immediately noticed that the robbers left behind jewelry, watches, handheld computers, and cash.
Oh, how...
Cash.
Weird. Oh, cash. Okay.
This seemed odd, at the very least, so suspicion grew. And then, to magnify suspicion, Najwa had 2 cell phones on her. Because remember, she phoned her sister-in-law, although she was locked in a room with her daughter. She had 2 phones still with her. So obviously the superintendent was like, okay, well, you're going to have to give me those phones. This lady asks him why.
She's a really bad criminal.
Why? I don't understand why. So he said, for evidence, duh. So she hands it to him, and then she's like, oh, but can I just have the one back? It's for business purposes. So he's like, no, we're going to take both in. And then she asks, okay, can she just quickly get it back so that you can take down a number for business? So he gives it to her, and at that moment, the guy to take the pictures for the safe came, so obviously he was distracted for a little while. Anyway, so he got the phone still. He still got the phone.
Yeah, but still.
So later, he went through the phone, and he didn't really notice anything unusual at first, until he saw that one number was reflected on the call log that he pulled up with the program that he was using.
Yes.
I don't know what programs the police use, but it wasn't actually in the phone's history, you know. So he's like, oh, that's weird, and he searched for the number in the phone, And a saved number came up with the name Fahim Hendricks, a friend of her ex-husband's, because she had been married twice before, who she recently rekindled with after learning that their children were in the same school. And Fahim had actually borrowed money from Najwa in the past to start up his tuck shop business. He repaid her by this time, but she had helped him out previously.
This is a complicated love triangle, square, circle.
Just you wait, I'm still on page 3. I have 5 pages. Now, on the day of Taliep's murder, the call log showed that the number had been called 10 times.
That's a lot.
And all of this was deleted from the phone itself. Which is very suspect.
Yeah.
They tracked Fahim down and asked him about his relationship with Najwa and all the phone calls between them, and basically just asked, what is going on here? And he said, no, they're having an affair. But then later, he changed the story, saying that, no, they were actually involved in a diamond deal together.
Okay.
So they call Najwa in to question her, and she says, oh no, we're actually having an affair. Then she retracts it and says, no, that they're selling diamonds together. So very smart. Yeah. Here I said, they could tell that she was speaking a load of shit. Okay, so then, in a shocking turn of events, in June of 2007, Fahim turned state witness.
What does that mean?
He's basically going to spill the beans to protect his own ass.
Oh, nice. So he turns on her. Nice. Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah, I said I'd spill the beans on Najwa. So, to have Taliep killed.
Oh, right, the state's witness, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm done.
No, you're not. In November of 2006, Fahim approached Najwa for another loan, and this time she wanted to strike a deal. So she's like, Fahim, if you kill Taliep, or find someone to do it, then I'll give you 100,000 rand. Like, I think she said 30 grand, I do explain it later. Okay. So 30 grand before, and then the rest after the deed was done. But also I would just like to remind everyone that this was only like 1 month's salary for this woman. So it wasn't really that much money for her. And especially if she's taking Taliep's money as well, this is probably just a drop in the bucket that she has.
And 100,000 is very little to kill someone over.
To kill someone. I mean, like, break all of, like, the moral standards that you should, like, the basic moral standards that you should have. 100k. I would never kill anyone. Let me just, like, preface this conversation with that. But I would definitely not do it for 100,000 rand. You know what I mean?
But I mean, it's sad people have done it for way less.
Yeah, and I guess if you're desperate, you're desperate. I don't know. Yeah, I've never been in that circumstance. Yeah. And I don't plan on ever putting myself in those circumstances. So at first Fahim was like, no, he refused, but he claims that she phoned him so relentlessly that eventually he agreed.
Like 10 times.
My question is, like, have you ever heard of blocking someone's number?
Yeah. Or go to the police and say, hey,
this woman is trying to pay me to kill her husband. Yeah. Please do something.
Yeah, that's a crime in itself.
Exactly. You're soliciting
a hitman.
Exactly. Yeah. Soliciting. I'm smart.
Both of us, yay.
So he set to work trying to find partners in his literal crime. He was going to hire a hitman, and he approached Abdur Rashid Mjedi, who had been released from jail. I think he was on parole, I'm pretty sure. And he'd been living with Fahim and his wife. And Abdur said he knew people that would be willing to do a full cut of the money. And, like, in my notes, I'm like, so many people just okay with murder? Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah, why is no one stopping and be like, this is not okay?
This is crazy. So as the planning commenced, Najwa told Fahim and Abdur that she wanted Taliep out of the picture because he was planning on divorcing her and taking half of her assets, or their assets, because they were married in community of property. Right. So she suggested making the murder look like a hijacking or robbery gone wrong. And she said upon arrival that before the deed is even done, she'll give them 30k. That was like the down payment. I don't know. And then when Taliep has been killed and his policy was paid out, she would give them the rest. Now his policy, remember when I said we'll get back to the life insurance policy? The most significant life insurance policy that was taken out in his name was only taken out a year before his death.
Okay.
And it was for 5.3 million rand.
Jeez.
And it only had one beneficiary.
Not all of his children, just the one.
The youngest daughter, Zainab.
Oh, that I didn't expect.
Yeah. But until she turned 18...
there it is.
Najwa would be in complete control over the money.
That's
so
it.
tell me again how she wanted to kill him only because he wanted a divorce?
Yeah, that's...
Sure.
And also to rob the daughter like that.
Yeah,
as well.
like just take advantage
Like you're going to take her dad and all the money that he...
Exactly.
Leaving. Yeah.
So... They first planned to stage a hijacking after Taliep returned from London. But Najwa called Fahim on the day to tell him that Taliep's flight had been delayed, and he told her that he couldn't get the hitmen that were supposed to, execute the hit anyway. And then later, when he did manage to get a hold of them, they said that they couldn't make it because they didn't have any transport.
Well, the taxi's on strike. Ridiculous thing.
Effortless planning. Beautiful. The second hit was planned, and Taliep was going to perform on stage with his son Asher, and Najwa wanted the hitmen to wait outside the theatre and kill him when he comes out. But they couldn't get themselves organized for this attempt either. You got 2 free chances to turn this shit around, to realize that, you're being crazy. You have 2 free get out of jail free cards, and you still choose this path.
The universe is like, hey, are you sure you want to go through with this?
Sure?
Are you sure that murder is what you want?
Are you really sure? Because I think you should think about this again. So this is what happened on the night of Taliep's death. Najwa informed Fahim that Taliep got home and that he's watching cricket in the upstairs TV room. He then relayed the information to the hitmen. Or to Abdur, and then Abdur related to the hitmen. I'm not 100% sure. They arrived at Najwa's house, and she left the door unlocked and the alarm disarmed. So everything was working fine. She just made sure that nothing was picked up.
They can't track that, can they, when it's armed and disarmed the alarm?
I think they can. I'm pretty sure they can. I don't know. Alarm at the office. Like, we have an app that we can disarm and arm, and there you can keep track. But it was 2006, so I'm not really sure. So the 2 hitmen were Wahid and Jefferson Snyders. They covered their faces and ambushed Taliep in the TV room, as I said earlier. Then Najwa came in to the TV room. Like, imagine this. You're seeing your wife or your spouse come in just after the hitmen have ambushed you and tied your hands. And here your wife has come strolling in, fucking probably wearing a gown. And she tried to hug Taliep.
Like, goodbye. I love you.
He attempted to headbutt her, which I think is the appropriate response.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is nothing else you should do in that situation.
Then the hitman tied his feet together because he was moving around too much apparently. So then the hitman told Najwa she must take them to the safe. So she took them and she gave them 27,000 rand, saying that once the job is finished, they'll get the rest. Then the hitman said, okay, they need to make this look like a real robbery.
Yes.
Is there anyone else in the house? So she took them to the other rooms where her son and his family were sleeping, pretending to be a victim herself. And the hitmen took their cell phones, some money they found in the son's pants, a camera and some other items. Wahid testified that he then bent over the crib and kissed the baby on the forehead, to which I say, fuck off. Why did you even do that? Why do you need to touch the baby? Leave.
Why would she even take them anywhere closer to the baby?
This woman has problems.
And how can you not just get someone that you're supposed to love killed, but traumatize your own children?
Exactly. So they left and they locked them in the room from the outside. Okay. Yeah. So when Najwa and Wahid returned, they found Jefferson had stuffed gloves into Taliep's mouth because, I don't know, he's being too loud apparently. Then when they took the gloves out of his mouth, Taliep had been reciting the kalima, which is the Islamic statement of belief. Basically, praying.
So kind of like their version of the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Najwa told them to shoot Taliep now, and Jefferson, apparently, he wasn't aware that this was a hit. He thought it was only a robbery and nothing more. He freaked out and said he wants nothing to do with this, and he fled the scene.
Okay.
Wahid covered Taliep's face with a pillow, and according to him, he struggled to pull the trigger. He didn't want to do it. And Najwa came up behind him with her hand on top of his hand on the gun, and then the shot rang out into the silent night, and no one knows who actually fired the shot.
Wow.
So the question was why Najwa wanted to kill Taliep so badly.
Yeah.
You know, was it the prospect of the divorce and the risk of losing half her assets? Was it due to her controlling ways and him slipping out of her grasp? Not to mention her struggles with mental health.
Yes.
Professor Annie Hesseling stated in Crimes Uncovered that her bipolar disorder could have been a contributing factor to the end result, but that it wasn't the actual reason.
Yeah.
Najwa showed an emotional willingness to kill, murderous thoughts and planning, and very rational decisions and actions were being made by her. So again, you are not your mental illness.
Yeah.
You are what you repeatedly do. You are your thoughts. You are your actions. And she was clearly okay with the choices that she was making.
I mean, I know 3 people that have bipolar in varying, degrees and stuff. And some have been on medication, some have never been on medication. No one's murdered anyone. That you can get angry and maybe throw something.
And irrational and stuff like
but that goes away. This is meticulous planning or attempted planning of a crime.
Exactly.
It took time and time and time again. This is not just one manic episode.
Exactly. And they tried twice before that.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Exactly.
She had opportunity. They all had opportunities. At least one of them was kind of okay, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, they committed a crime, but still, at least they weren't going to kill someone.
Exactly. At least he was no, this is kind of where I pull, draw the line,
Yeah.
I mean. So at the trial, the judge described Najwa's actions as sheer savagery and sentenced her to 28 years in prison, which to me is not long enough, but okay. Abdur was sentenced to 24 years, but he was actually released in 2020, last year.
Wonderful.
Only 11 years into his sentence.
Jeez,
So that's South African justice for you, I guess.
Did he get manslaughter because they couldn't determine who exactly pulled the trigger? But then why would...
No, he was a part of the planning. Wahid Hassan got 25 years, and Jefferson, the one who ran away, got 10 years for robbery with aggravating circumstances, 3 of which were suspended.
Okay.
So he technically only got 7 years.
Yeah.
That took me too long. Okay.
I didn't even bother trying the math, so don't worry.
Yeah, so on a happier note, 2 of Taliep's children seem to be following in his footsteps, and both have magical voices. Fatima and Asher both had videos go viral of their singing.
Okay.
I think Asher sang I Can Show You the World,
yes.
and Fatima sang some song that was in The Greatest Showman. Oh, and that's the story of Taliep Petersen, which was so sad. I just think, stupid. It's greed at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's really disgusting.
And all sources will be cited in the show notes.
I mean, it's terrible that she murdered him, or had him killed. But the children, all of those children, the exes, all the people affected, the family members that now have to live with that and know this person that he was supposed to trust hurts him so much. And like you said, with the abuse, it's not overt. It's it's financial abuse, but it's still abuse. But I mean, if you're physically going to harm someone, that's already crossing too many lines.
Such a sad story, honestly. Yeah. And they don't really get justice, you know what I mean?
At least the police were kind of quick to react in the stories.
Yeah. So...
Thanks for bumming me out.
I know. It really is a sad story, and especially because Taliep was so talented.
Yeah.
Obviously, researching this, I listened to a lot of his songs and saw him performing, and he just oozed happiness.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are you going to tell me?
What I'm going to tell you is that we're going to pause and get wine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes.
She's small. Yeah. Oh, your cats are actually small.
Are they? Penny's so massive.
Yeah, but you can't.
Tiny little paws.
Next, are you going to get out so you stop making a noise? No. Sweetheart, come. We're almost done, then you can play. Come, sweetie pie. Out.
Next.
Move your butt. Come.
Yeah. So sad.
Alright. Oh, okie dokies. So I wanted to do, obviously stories that people know about in places and things. But again, very, very little information. So I wanted to cover the Nottingham Road Hotel in KZN.
Okay, I've never heard of this.
Oh, really?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Apparently it's like a really famous hotel, and it's apparently one of the most famous haunted places in South Africa, so I thought I wanted to cover it. But yeah, it's very short, which is perfect. You know, it goes with your story.
My story was long.
Yeah, so basically it's in KwaZulu-Natal, and in 1885 there was a railway built, and it reached to where it is now. The railway station was first called Karloof Station, and it was later renamed Nottingham Road Station. The land where the hotel was bought in 1889 by George Orwin after
I thought you were going to say George
Orwell.
Orwell.
Me too, especially I saw like 1885.
Animal Farm?
Yeah, so he bought the land from siblings that had died, James Ellis and Janet King. So Owen bought the land, but C. Morgan built and finished the railway hotel in 1891. So the hotel was a popular stop for British soldiers during the Boer War. So it was quite like an integral part of the settlement because, I mean, I think it was quite a way out. Mm-hmm. And then they have soldiers coming in and out. I think some of the first people who were brought there were like from Scotland. And so it was a lot of people moving in and out of that area. Why I also wanted to cover this is because, you know the show Ghost Hunters? Mm-hmm. There's Ghost Hunters International.
Is that...
No, that's Ghost Adventures. Oh. So Ghost Hunters is the calmer one where they actually try and debunk it. Yeah, yes. So with the plumbers, the Roto-Rooter guys.
Yes. Okay.
So now there's another team that they have, Ghost Hunters International, and they go to obviously different places and investigate. So they came here.
Oh.
I think it was early 2000s. It was early, especially when you watch the episode. Your eyes gave me such a fright.
My eyes just melted and it made a sound, and I thought the ghost was next to me.
Well then, it begins. So yeah, they came and they did Cape Town Castle and Nottingham Road Hotel. Okay. So they came and they went to do an investigation. So according to the guy, I don't think it was the owner, I think it was just the guy who was running the hotel at the time. He said that their main ghost is Charlotte. There's quite a few articles and stuff about Charlotte and her story, but it's almost the only story that you find.
Oh, wow.
Which is weird considering it's supposed to be one of the most haunted places in South Africa.
Maybe Charlotte was really busy.
Maybe. So she was apparently a sex worker who worked at the hotel, and she fell in love with a man who was then killed on the battlefield. Oh. So I read two different things where it's either she was so upset when she heard of his death that she jumped out of it's only a second story. So she jumped out and then she died of her injuries. I think it was to do with her leg or something.
Okay.
Or
out of the second story?
Yeah. Or someone pushed her. Oh. So we don't know. Because she was a sex worker, so the thing was maybe it was a client who didn't want to pay. Yes. Something happened and they killed her. So either way, there's reports of this Charlotte. And there's accounts of her which she likes to rearrange flower arrangements. Huh. And also, which I freaking love, she folds clothes that has been thrown on the floor in the hotel rooms. Oh. And if I can get a ghost to do laundry, I would be so happy.
I was going to say that, but I would still not want the ghost.
You know what, if you're going to fold up my stuff, please. I need that. There's also...
Have I ever told you the story of our ghost in our house?
What, were you now?
Not now. Oh, when I was younger, sorry, because this is quite relevant.
Yeah.
In a house we used to live in just before my parents got divorced, a little house that we lived in as a family. Oh, that sounds much sadder than I intended. Anyway, so this house had a ghost in, and my mom and my sister both saw the ghost, and now as I got older I realized that maybe I sensed something, but I was just too scared to really take things in, because I always felt like someone was watching me. Yes. And you know, like it was, and I really struggled to sleep in the house as well. Anyway, so my mom actually saw the ghost because one day my dad went and got his boat license, so he was gone for the whole day and he was gonna be home really late. Yeah. Then my mom, she was home and she saw my dad come in. And she thought, oh well, he's home early. I'm gonna give him a fright now. So she went around the other corner to try and cut my dad off, because the dining room had two entrances. One that you could get through the kitchen and the TV room, and the other one you got through the lounge. And then so she went the long way around, the lounge way around, and she got there and she jumped around the corner and she's like, boom, and there was nothing there. And now, why I'm saying the clothing folding thing is kind of, it's not the same, but it's similar. we had a prepaid electricity meter in there. The electricity never ran out. We never bought electricity in that house.
What the? I need that. What? Where are these ghosts?
Like, I promise you, the meter number was the same on the day that we moved in and on the day that we moved out. We never bought electricity.
What?
And the people from the municipality actually came and checked out our electricity box because I guess they thought that we were tampering with it. Yeah. They couldn't find anything wrong.
Because that was my first thought. Like, is there something wrong? Like,
they couldn't find anything wrong.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's so weird, eh? Wow. So I think that's also maybe why I am so scared, because maybe like subconsciously I know.
Yeah, but you had a good ghost. Mine just moved my keys and hid them from me and like hid my stuff away.
Someone watching me while I'm sleeping.
Okay, yes, I know, that's also gross, but still. Wow, that would be so nice.
Right?
Like, I just need a ghost that's gonna bring me money.
That would be cool.
That would be so nice. Okay, hi Nixie. Do you want to say? Okay. Sorry, the cats are in here now. So they were out for Chanelle's story, but I feel bad. So they're in here now. So Charlotte either killed herself or she was killed, but there's no like real records of her death apparently. So I don't know. But also, if she was a sex worker, would there be records?
Exactly. Did they care?
Yeah. Especially if someone murdered her, then
they care enough to sleep with her, but they don't care enough to fight for her life.
No.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. On the episode I watched, the one account that was given was that this woman came to the front desk and she saw Charlotte, or she saw a woman standing by the stairs, and then she like called her husband and he looked and he saw her as well. So that's like quite a thing for an apparition to be there for that long. Yes. That two people can see it.
Yeah.
That's quite intentional.
Yeah, she wanted.
Yeah. On the GHI episode, they went into room 2 and they were told that in this room, or a woman that stayed at the hotel in that room, she was either sleeping or just lying in bed, I can't remember, but she felt like a pressure on her chest, and then once her daughter touched her, the feeling went away. So it could be sleep paralysis, but it also could be, something. Either way, that's horrible.
That's why I don't sleep on my back.
Yeah, me neither.
I sleep on my stomach. Don't care how much back pain I get. I will never sleep on my back.
Yeah, I sleep on my side and then my stomach, and then I'm like, oh, my back. And then I like try and lie on my back, but I lie kind of on the side.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I'm not completely on my back, so I'm not going to get sleep paralysis.
I have proper pillow behind my back so that I can't flip over completely. I will not be caught dead. Because I also, if I wake up from a nightmare, I'm on my back.
Oh.
Every single time. If I've woken up from a nightmare, I am sleeping on my back.
That's weird. I find that if I get very, very warm when I'm sleeping, like if I get too hot, I get nightmares.
Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting. Maybe maybe your brain is trying to wake you up because bro, we're
overheating. Yeah. Probably.
You're gonna die.
So in room 10, that's apparently the room where Charlotte was either killed or where she killed herself. This family was staying there and they had 2 little kids with them. And the parents heard the children like talking quietly in the room, which is, first of all, just disgusting. Like, little kids are creepy.
I will never take my kids anywhere.
Especially if they're like whispering in the room and
shut up.
The parents are like, who are you talking to? And they're like, the pretty lady over there.
That is when I evacuate.
Yeah. So they were probably talking to Charlotte. Then they only got like 2 EVPs during the investigation. And one of the investigators said something like, it's creepy in here. And the recorder picked up a voice saying, yeah. And then the other investigator was walking out of a room, got his equipment, he was planning to leave, and the EVP says, come back.
Oh, no, thank you, never.
Oh, in 2020, I saw an article during lockdown that the hotel checked their security cameras and they caught a female figure in the bar. So we'll definitely link to that because it is quite creepy, like those pictures are quite spooky.
I know, you're going to show me.
I have to show you now.
Oh, now I'm scared already.
I was looking through every article and
Charlotte lurks during lockdown. I don't like the subject.
Like
no.
Yeah. Yeah, the bar was closed because of COVID-19 lockdown regulations. and there was someone freaking in there.
No.
It's creepy.
They don't show the the actual
no,
running
not that I
footage.
can see, but
That's that's clear as freaking day.
that's terrifying.
I would, if I worked there, I would quit.
Yeah.
The day they released that footage is the day I hand in my resignation.
She just wanted some spirits, man.
You're better than that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd quit. I'd be freaked out, but I'd probably go back.
Nope. No, thank you.
Yeah, so that was pretty much what I could find, which is so little. But, I mean, it's one of the most noted haunted places around here, so I thought, let's cover it, and yeah.
That's scary. Now I'm scared if we go there.
Oh, yeah, we have to go there.
Well, I'm assuming that we will. Where is it?
KwaZulu-Natal.
Oh, yeah, it's a little far.
Don't
but
ask me
fine.
where that is. Every place that's outside of Cape Town, I don't know. It's all just South
Even
Africa.
places in Cape Town, I don't know where I am. I used to drive from Panorama to Stellenbosch with my GPS every single day.
No.
When I was studying there.
Really?
For Fleeting Minute, yeah.
That's so close.
I know, but I was so paranoid of getting lost because my sense of direction is non-existent.
Okay, that makes sense then.
I can't believe that they actually caught such a vivid.
Yeah, and she's holding
you can
onto
you can see the hair.
Yeah.
Is she standing with her one hand on her hip like this?
I think I see it looking like she's holding onto the fireplace, isn't she?
Yeah, I see
you
her
see
standing
that,
like
yeah.
this, one hand on her hip, the other one leaning against
Yeah,
the
looks
fireplace.
Like she's
just
looking off
waiting.
that way.
Yeah, she's waiting for, I don't know, next customer.
Maybe.
Maybe she looked very sassy in that picture though.
Yeah. Well, I suppose if you've been around that long, you're going to be sassy. I mean, from the 1800s.
Oh, and she just wanted to end.
Yeah. I mean, she's kind of dressed for the 1800s, isn't she?
She is.
It's like a very long
white. Why is it always white?
Is it white or is it just maybe
because she's
can't see?
Yeah,
but I mean, then there are other ghosts people have seen and they're wearing colours, so it's not.
I don't know. I've never seen a ghost in real life, and I don't want to. No, I don't want to. So if I did, I didn't take it in.
I once saw outside of my friend's house. I was leaving for the night, and I got into my car, and you look down and you're getting everything sorted, and I looked up, and it was in Para Valley, so it's very close to Tygerberg Hospital, which I need to. My mom said she was in student housing there. It sounds it was haunted. She said, yeah. So I looked up and I saw in front of me this really stern old man walking with a cane, and he was walking in my direction. All I remember is his face was so stern. He looked like an old Afrikaans man, walking with his cane. I don't remember if he just disappeared or I drove away, but I went home. I was like, I'm not staying here anymore.
No, I would never visit that friend again.
Well, she said that they had ghosts in the house. They could hear it walking on the wooden floors while everyone was asleep and stuff. And she's like, oh no, but he just lives here, it's fine.
You can't live here while I live here. That's what scares me. You kind of have to just let them do their thing. Because I'm scared that if you antagonize them, you're going to make them angry. Yeah. And I know they can't technically kill you or hurt you or whatever, because if ghosts could kill you, I think there would be a lot less white people on this earth.
It's so funny, but it's so true. Wow, I've never heard that in my life before.
I'm just saying.
That is a good point. You're just tribes of people.
Especially Americans. Yeah. And I'm not saying South Africans won't. Definitely us too, but...
Oh, yeah, that's true. Then it's a very good thing that once you go, you don't have that much power.
But I guess they can make you crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it can torment someone, I suppose. Oh,
hello. The cat just jumped on. She's not very talkative.
Yeah, she knows it's the recording. It's always like when you try and take a video of them and they stop what they were doing. That's so cute. So yeah, all the sources will be on the show notes. Yeah, this was very short and...
Well, mine was very long. So.
Yeah, so it works out perfectly.
Exactly. Join us next week for some more...
Law and Omen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have a good week. Bye.
Stay safe. Love you.